You are listening to MINDSHOCK. This is your host, Bruce McGuire, in one of the most long-awaited exposés with receipts. Coincidence theorist trigger warning. This has been one of the most triggering conspiracies that coincidence theorists have been cope spiraling and melting down over for over a decade, pretending and hallucinating there couldn't be any evidence that's legitimate at all regarding bad people doing bad things. I don't know why, but coincidence theorists seem to have severe mental disabilities in not comprehending that there's evil people out there and they don't always act alone. Shocking. Mind shock. I mean, who would have thunk it that criminals can't act alone? That just they can act alone. They can't act alone, or they can act alone. Like, as if both scenarios can't be true. Some criminals act alone, some don't. Ain't rocket science, but for coincidence theorists, for authority worshipping cultist bootlickers, it's a bridge too far. It's a bridge too far. But as always, in typical mind shock fashion, we will be going over receipts, irrefutable, documented evidence that even the most devout coincidence theorists in the post-Epstein era might have some trouble with, maybe, if they have functioning brains, possibly. As always, we'll be going over all of this and more in typical mind shock fashion with logic and reason at the forefront, attempting not to fall for any logical fallacies, unlike pretty much everything else out there. If you want to help support the podcast, you can do it to our PayPal. Check the link in the description. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share. Twitter, Facebook, Reddit, and Patreon. Patrons do get priority for case, topic, logical analysis, podcast, or request. You could also be a guest on the podcast depending on your tier. Questions, comments, theories, thoughts, suggestions, rebuttals, debunkings of any kind, leave them in the comment section. Or if you were with us here live, drop them in the live chat. I'll try to get to all of them. You can also become a YouTube member right here on YouTube. Help support the channel that way. Welcome, Flat Bob. AC97. Flat Bob says, they're all sick and twisted people. Anyone who can't see the obvious has been blinded by the god of this world. Are you talking about, what are you talking about exactly? Are you referencing the earth being Satan's domain? AC97 says, Jeff's gotta have his jerky. Well, I want to go over the timeline here. I want to go over the timeline because for over a decade now, the mainstream media has been maintaining that this was all some wacky, crazy, right-wing conspiracy theory. Actually, before we even get into that, let's get into the track record of the government and conspiracy theorists, aka critical thinkers, aka those that are corruption aware. So before we even get into this, like, a lot of goofs hallucinate. I don't know if it's Stockholm Syndrome or what's going on here, but a lot of coincidence theorist goofs hallucinate that the government would never do anything bad. And you know what's weird? There's a contingent of these goofs who actually do have the mental capacity to understand MK Ultra, Tuskegee, the poisoning of St. Louis. That's a big one nobody talks about. I'm going to do a whole podcast on that one. Operation Mockingbird, of course, Northwoods, all of these things that were either planned and executed or simply planned and not executed. Like, the level of goofery required to hallucinate that the government, the American government, has never and would never do bad things. I mean, that's just insanity. That's just insanity. And so, but there's a certain percentage, and I don't know if this group is even dumber, that says, oh yeah, the government definitely did bad things in the past, but they would never do it now. And you saw this type of goofery all through the 90s, the 2000s with 9/11, with the incident in Connecticut, even with the Boston Marathon bombing, all of these things, 9/11, like, a lot of these goofs fully acknowledge that the government in the past would definitely do evil things and has, but the people in the government now, they're just magically immune from corruption. They're magically immune. So therefore, none of the new, the old conspiracy theories, maybe those were true, but none of the new ones are true. And this is the level of gophery that is modern coincidence theorist bootlegging. So just on the surface, if you know somebody who's a liar that lies about everything, I mean, yeah, maybe they're telling the truth the next time, but why would you just believe them on default? Again, even basic logic aside, let's pretend you don't even know what logic is. Let's talk about preschool level street smarts. Like, let's just do that. Just preschool level street smarts. So during recess, if a kid is always stealing your toy or playing a trick on you where they pretend to give you a toy and then pull it away, are you magically going to believe they're not going to pull it away the next time? I mean, this is the mental capacity or lack thereof. We're dealing with coincidence theorists. So whenever there's a supposedly wacky, crazy new conspiracy theories from these right-wingers or whoever, like, you would be more accurate to just assume they're correct statistically. Now, that is fallacious. You shouldn't do that. But just on the balance of probabilities, you'd be correct more often than not. That's what's funny about all this. And this is like preschool level. These are preschool level logical concepts here. So if somebody's always lying, are you going to assume they're telling the truth the next time? I mean, maybe they are, and they might be. You should definitely, examine for evidence if you're being logical. But would your default standard position be, okay, they always lied about everything all the time, but now they're telling the truth. So when... So they've denied every single conspiracy theory that has since been proven true, but this next denial is legitimate. They're definitely innocent this time. I mean, wow. The gophery is just stratospheric with coincidence theorists. All right. Bridget Martini says, great topic. Let's get right down to the cancer. Let there be light, L-I-T-E. That's a cool name. Satan, quote, all these things I will give you if you fall down and do an act of worship to me, end quote. Billy Labadie, hi Bruce, buddy, keep doing what you do, brother, as always. Logic and reason at the forefront here. Let there be light says, Jesus, quote, get behind me, end quote. AC97 says, so many people are brainwashed into living a normal life when nothing is normal about reality. Yeah, that's called the normalcy bias. But the normalcy isn't even legitimate, so it's a hallucinatory bias on top of that. Flat Bat Dad, that's a good name. Hey Bruce, thanks for all you do for the pursuit of logic and reasoning. Yep. Chin Chin, sour cream type beat. Chin Chin, where have you been, Chin Chin? Haven't seen Chin Chin in a while. So, now that we've laid the groundwork of the history, now how jam-packed is the Alex Jones jar was right? Alex Jones was right jar. How jam-packed is this jar? Let's just do another quick trip down memory lane with Alex Jones, and then we'll examine the chronology of Pizzagate. If YouTube allows. It'll come to no surprise that this stream might be highly messed with, kind of like the Cappy stream that got shut down. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe it won't. I don't know. So let's look at Alex Jones' prediction just real quick, just to establish a track record for Jones here. And then we'll get into the chronology of Pizzagate. 1990 started his one. I think this might be from the early 2000s. So he started his the final edition show on KJFK 98.9 FM radio, where he's talking about conspiracy theories, etc. In 1996, he started that show. So he started InfoWars website in 1999, which also had videos there. So, again, exact date here. I don't know if it's 2001, 2002, somewhere around there, but this is clearly a relatively old video. And obviously, nothing of what he said has come true or is accurate in any way. But let's listen to it so we can see how wrong he is and how crazy he is.
Facts and common sense are in. Yes, there have been corrupt empires. Yes, they manipulate. Yes, there are secret societies. Yes, there have been oligarchies throughout history. And yes, today in 2002, there is a tyrannical organization calling itself the New World Order, pushing for worldwide government, a cashless society, open borders, total and complete tyranny, where human beings are absolutely worthless. There's 6.25+ billion of us, and the globalists have said it many times. There's too many of us. We're causing a problem. We need to be culled at the tune of 80%. It's amazing to talk about that, but it's the globalists, the UN, their own public statements, and they've convinced a lot of liberals and elitist conservatives and others that by going along with this, that we're intelligent members of society. It's the ultimate Malthus world view. It is this radical, virulent form of social Darwinism. It's the excuse of tyrants. And by creating open borders where there's no national sovereignty and only global bodies that control all the resources, by centralizing and socializing health care, the state becomes God, basically, when it comes to your health. And then by releasing diseases and viruses and plagues upon us, we then basically get shoved into their system.
So obviously all of that completely false from the... And this is from an old clip of mine. If you can't tell, because I got a lot of hate comments for this one. People couldn't tell that I was being sarcastic, even though I was putting the receipts literally on the screen here. They're on the screen, people. And I got a ton of... I even got people saying, unsubscribed, how dare you? How dare you blaspheme against Jones? When have I ever blasphemed against Alex Jones? Alex Jones is the greatest thespian of all time. I mean, look at the thespianism on display here. But this isn't what this podcast is about. So for those that don't know, like, spoiler, I'm being just a tad sarcastic here. This lunatic.
To build a new world order.
A new world order. A new world order. A new world order. New world order. A new world order. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order.
That I often use myself, that we needed a new world order.
A new order of the ages.
A new world order.
But of the global order of a new world order. World order. But what does a new world order mean in this new world order? It is a new world order. I think a new world order is emerging.
And we are in the midst of one of the historic global transformations that is going to eventually lead to a new world order.
And for the international order that we have worked for generations to build. Ordinary men and women are too small-minded to govern their own affairs. That order and progress can only come when individuals surrender their rights to an all-powerful sovereign.
We need a great reset. We can build a new social contract, global order.
Is to actually...
I know I didn't leave that on the screen for too long, but yes, Joe Biden wrote an article here, published in the Wall Street Journal, Thursday, April 23rd, 1992, titled How I Learned to Love the New World Order. I mean, you can't make this stuff up, people. I mean, the coincidence theorists, I mean, how much coincidences are coincidence theorists able to ignore? Possibly limitless. I'll get to the chat as soon as I finish this clip. A lot of people saying a lot of interesting things, including the one and only Dave Bogatka. If you haven't checked out his interview here on MindShock, he brought the receipts, typical MindShock style, to back up everything he said from the Stephen Avery case and otherwise.
is to actually create a new world order.
A new world order.
And now is a time when things are shifting. There's gonna be a new world order.
There's a need for a new world order. There's a need for a new world order.
So, yeah, I mean, clearly, there's no group ever referring to themselves as the New World Order. They've never done that before. It's not going on now. I mean, he's definitely on some kind of drugs.
New world order. A new world order. New world order. New world order. A new world order.
New world order.
New world order.
World order. New world order. New world order.
New world order. A new world order.
Order.
A new world order.
A new world order.
A new world order.
There's a need for a new world order.
He's clearly lying about all of this. There would never be any kind of power grabs or depopulation agendas through any kind of diseases. I mean, that's just outlandish. I mean, there would never be any lockdowns or anything like that, or any kind of death stemming from such, or any kind of emergency treatments that could be highly dangerous. I mean, there would obviously, I mean, this guy is such a loon. I mean, even back in 2002, everything he was saying was completely wrong, and clearly none of it has come true. Now let's take a look at a clip from 2017. So we went 2 decades back. Now let's go half a decade back, 5 years ago. Has his accuracy improved? And let's look at his professionalism. I mean, say what you will about him being a completely wrong and a liar about everything. He was relatively professional back in this clip from 2002. I mean, relatively professional in his presentation and demeanor. Now let's take a look at, so that's how it started and how it's going in 2017. Now let's take a look.
All this is a societal wrecking ball to destroy any semblance of normality, any semblance of basic human biology that you see in the bees and you see in the birds. Imagine if somebody in a demon outfit showed up next to a baby giraffe and said, "Hi, I'm a demon. Be inclusive. Don't be mean to me. Let me wear demon horns and come up and look like a complete alien from another planet. Let a space alien." And by the way, this is a program. They dress up like space aliens all over the United States and all over the world. I told you, in horrible demon psychopath outfits that make Pennywise look beautiful. And they show up and they have their way with your children in demon outfits. I mean, if you've got men that look like 400-pound goblin demons with your children, there's nothing you won't put up with. There isn't a species on the planet that would let something that looks like a space alien get up close to its kids, but only in America does it happen, and I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it right now. I can't handle it more.
What a complete loon. Clearly, there's nothing like this going on in public, going on in schools. I mean, what was Alex Jones smoking in 2017 for him to think that anything like this could ever happen? I mean, it's 20...
Yeah, Flat Bob, people actually did think I was serious here, despite the receipts on the screen here. I mean, come on. New York City schools spent over $200,000 of taxpayer money on drag queen shows at public schools. So this article's New York Post 2022. Alex Jones is ranting about this in 2017.
22 now. Clearly, he was completely wrong and lying about that also. And also his professionalism dropped. I mean, he's just screaming like a loon now over these things that were clearly never true. They're clearly not true now, and they will clearly never happen. I mean, this guy is a complete lying buffoon. He's always wrong about everything. I mean, is there a single thing he's been right about yet? I mean, this guy is like a master of always being wrong about everything. I mean, how does he have any followers? Why would anybody visit?
I mean, I laid it on pretty thick there, but hey. The whole baby organ harvesting thing was pretty crazy. Government-funded, Washington Free Beacon, government-funded researchers sought aborted minorities for organ harvesting. DJHJ Media, aborted babies for organ harvesting leads to be true and government-funded. Not only is it true, it's government-funded. That's insane.
Fox News, millions in federal money followed to tissue bank that collected fetal hearts, gonads, legs, brain report. University of Pittsburgh said it complies with rigorous regulatory and ethical oversight. Newsweek, I mean, this is all over the place. The microchips, obviously, Alex Jones talking about that many, many years ago. So yeah, interesting.
The InfoWars website. Why would anybody watch his horrible show where it's just lies upon lies upon lies and conspiracy theory, quackery, and paranoia about things that have never happened, clearly aren't happening now, and will definitely never ever happen in the future? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Can any of the MindShock listeners out there explain this guy's appeal? I mean, they were right to censor this guy. I mean, if all he does is spew these lies, all these things that have never happened, aren't happening now, and will never be happening in the future, clearly he needs to be deplatformed and censored, because liars who are always wrong about everything should not have a right to speak publicly. I mean, who can disagree with that? Any MindShock listener?
Yeah, is it possible for me to have laid it on even thicker than that? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, now that we've established Alex Jones's track record here, let's get into the history. So Pizzagate, and obviously Alex Jones, one of the first to break the Epstein story as well, if not the first. I'm not actually 100% sure, but he was one of the first, or at least with a big platform. So let's look here at Alex Jones. Let's go all the way back. I don't know if we have a year here when he's breaking Pizzagate. Obviously, he also talked about adrenochrome, like all these things. I mean, you'd be hard-pressed. Can anybody think of a more accurate news host than Alex Jones? Just saying. Actually, let me catch up on some of these, some of the comments here. All right. Welcome, Christopher Allen. Yeah, Flap Bob, the NASA patches. Was that the first time MindShock got shut down? AC97 says, where do we go from here? I feel like nothing will happen till SHTF. I think we might be past the point of no return here. I think, I'll go over that in the end. Ask that again in the end, because I kind of want to go in order here. Bagatka says, AG of Wisconsin that was in on the framing of Stephen Avery was appointed by Clinton, and the same Epstein expletive goes on there in Wisconsin. All the satanic pedo stuff. Yeah, and again, if you haven't listened to the Dave Bagatka interview on MindShock, check it out. Go over a lot of stuff, all with receipts. Dave says, Alex gone off the rails recently with the support of Trump. I don't know what's going on with Alex Jones recently. It's pretty wild. Chin Chin says, they have planned the New World Order for over a century. Albert Pike in Morals and Dogmas talk about it at length. It is the great work. Yeah, I'm gonna, I don't know if I've re-uploaded the Albert Pike clips on this channel, but I will. Dave Bagatka says he stopped whining about getting shut down. I think he got taken over somehow. Anything's possible. I floated some theories where he was MK Ultra, and then he kind of found out about it, and then he flipped the script on his handlers and became a true patriot. And then who knows? Maybe he got compromised again after that. Chin Chin says, hunger strike by Temple of the Dog. Even talked about farming babies. It's not a new idea. That was 91. Well, that might have been one of the... Yeah, I don't know how much was predated that. QCZ says, when was that original video upload made? You mean the Alex Jones clip that I put together from my podcast? I don't know. Was that 1 or 2 years ago? Something there? 1, 2, 3 years ago? Okay, so let's get to Jones. This is 2016, people. This clip is from 2016.
This story that's been the biggest thing on the internet for several weeks, Pizzagate as it's called, is a rabbit hole that is horrifying to go down. Now, if you're a radio listener, this is a powerful video, but I've had it reposted because, again, he finished it, I guess, on Wednesday. It went out Thursday on the Nightly News that was taped the day before. This is on Infowars.com. Pizzagate is real. The only question is, what exactly is it? Because I'd said, man, I hope this is drug dealing code word or something, or, you know, maybe they got the wrong manual because this is the FBI says this is pedophilia manuals. These are the terms they use. And then here's the New York Times. Fake news onslaught targets pizzeria as nest of child traffickers. Hey, I don't know why the pizzeria and the one down the street have symbols in the FBI dossier. I don't know why there's devil worship art on the walls. I don't know why it's connected to Bethesda. I don't know why they got rock singers there talking about, you know, going after kids or whatever. This is what's going on, though.
And I just want to add here, too, for those that don't know, fake news appears, that term, so conspiracy theorists was invented by the government to try to downplay any questioning of the JFK assassination. Look at this. Look at this term, fake news, becoming a search term right with Pizzagate. Now, isn't this a coincidence here? I mean, look at this coincidence there. Look at, like, what do coincidence theorists say about this? Is this the fake news psyop? I know Trump took it over after, but look at this is interesting. Look at this spike here. I mean, this is an interesting spike coinciding with the spike of Pizzagate. And then look at the huge spike of Pizzagate comeback with fake news. See, these are the questions everybody should be asking, because immediately mainstream media was all over Pizzagate calling it fake. Like, how would they know? Like, if they were legitimate news outlets, wouldn't they say, well, there's no evidence, like, we don't have evidence yet, but to flat out call it false? Like, how would they know it was false? If that doesn't raise an eyebrow, I mean, you might be mentally disabled. I mean, look at this. All the media immediately saying fake news story led man to shoot inside restaurant, etc. And we'll go over that as well. But all of the news outlets immediately calling it fake without actually doing any investigation. Now, it's one thing to call outlandish theories. Yeah, sure, that's fine. It might seem outlandish. Doesn't mean it's not true. Like, there's so many ways they could have chose to downplay it, but to flat out state it's fake, like, how would they know if it was real or fake? I mean, these are the questions a logical individual asks, and look at what happened here. Look at what happened with the search terms. So was fake news practically invented to psyop downplay this potentially very real conspiracy theory?
And so maybe it's just some genre they picked up. They don't know what they're involved in. I'm not accusing them of anything. It's not like they look like little piggy people or anything. Not like they fit all the cliches or anything when you go to the... Just like nice people to me. But the point is that this is tied into Podesta with thousands of emails with, we're going to have the 6-year-old, the 7-year-old, and 8-year-old in the hot tub for your entertainment out at the ranch house. They can be a little persnickety, but they are also willing and enjoy it.
Now, as sick as all this is, let's try to just, remain as objective here as possible and not... I know it's difficult to, this is so sick and sadistic. Like, I have to really just, turn off the emotions and let's just look at the data here. Now, since then, I mean, look at everything that has come out here in these emails, especially pause it and read it. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read any of this filth. But I'll put it on the screen for the receipts. I mean, look at this. What is this? I mean, it's going back 2015. I mean, these are kind of weird. Why would you, like, if you're friends with people, I don't care if you're billionaires or millionaires or broke people. Like, who emails each other about how good pizza was? I mean, look at this. Look at this. These are just completely sick. Just talking about, like, all the different, like, who emails like this? Again, I'm not going to read these, but they're on the screen here. So, yeah. There are about, I'll get the exact number too, or near exact. I mean, there's so many documents, but it looks like, 900 references. Now, I defy anybody to go into their email right now and search the word pizza and see how many times it comes up. Like, yeah, I mean, if there's a pizza party, birthday, you know, whatever, maybe it might come up a couple times. 900 times? And not just come up, like, the sick stuff that's surround, like, they're gonna go in detail about how good the pizza was, like, all this stuff. Like, that's kind of weird. Like, how many coincidence theorists are trying to explain this? 900 reference. I mean, no, seriously, everybody, go into your email, search the word pizza, see how many times it comes up. And you're going to go on and on about it? Like, what would a normal email look like? Oh, yeah, that was a cool pizza party or whatever. It was nice seeing so-and-so there. I haven't, like, you would talk about other stuff. You wouldn't be going on and on about the pizza. And this was released too. All the different code words that these criminals use. Walnut, hot dog, pizza, cheese, chicken or pasta, ice cream, sauce. Like this is really disgusting stuff. And the symbols and all this. It's kind of, you know, I can't spend too much time on that. But yeah, all of this is known. 900 references. And you got the fake stream media already declaring the theory fake as soon as it comes up. Like, there's no investigation done. They're just immediately declaring that it's fake. Yeah, Chin Chin, the way they spell certain words, like casting with 2 S's. Yeah, it's weird. It's definitely weird.
Yeah, I mean, there's thousands of these. You're reading it going, what the hell is this? And you start reading it, there's thousands and thousands and thousands, and you know you're reading something real bad. Oh, I'll see you at the feast tonight. Oh, we'll have lots of blood and semen. Oh, good. And then they had, like, Time Magazine worshiping this high priestess the week after we exposed her about news, all this PR, like, oh, we'll show them. They're attacking our high priestesses. We'll just put them in the news better. Like, we're all upstanding and out in the open. And
Is he talking about Elon Musk's mother here? I don't know which satanic priestess that was.
Good people. Look, I've been careful about all this. This is Lawsuit City. I don't know what the hell's going on with these people. I know straight up devil worship when I see it and find quotes of her saying it's real when she does it privately, including her Ask Me Anything Reddit accounts. I mean, I know real Baphomet worship when I see it, but thousands of emails? I'm not ready to accuse these people of this. It's up to you to research it for yourself, but you got to go to Infowars.com and actually see the photos and videos inside these places. You've got to see their menus. You've got to see it all, ladies and gentlemen, and then you've got to see the FBI law enforcement manuals showing the code words that are used. And by the way, I didn't just believe this. I went to the FBI site, I went and looked it all up, and people ask, well, why weren't you on this earlier? We were on it from the beginning. We've been on it the last couple of weeks since the election, but we're fighting on hundreds of fronts here. Let's go ahead and go to the report. Pizzagate is real. The question is, how real is it? What is it? Something's going on. Something's being covered up. It needs to be investigated. To just call it fake news. These are real WikiLeaks. This is real stuff going on. Here it is.
A warning to viewers, the following images are disturbing. This all began after WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange released hundreds of thousands of secret documents detailing a backstabbing Clinton Foundation, but it now appears the real truth Assange was leading us to was hidden between the blurred lines of Hillary Clinton's campaign manager John Podesta's released emails. Fast forward past John Podesta's brother Tony's casual email exchange with thelemic spirit cooking adherent Marina Abramovic. The Rosetta Stone was needed next, a verification that high-level Washington, D.C. predatory pedophiles were using a code to communicate child sex trafficking as casually as ordering a pizza. An FBI unclassified document from WikiLeaks revealed symbols and logos used by pedophiles to identify sexual preferences, to include those who sexually abuse children, as well as those who produce, distribute, and trade child pornography, are using various types of identification logos or symbols to recognize one another and distinguish their sexual preferences. Investigators should also be attentive to pedophilia symbols advertised on websites. During examinations of computer files, investigators should be conscious of subjects who try to conceal child pornography by labeling them with symbols instead of typical suggestive explicit names. Thus, the interest in code words. Now, clues. The menu from Comet Ping Pong. Notice the symbol of the ping pong paddles and its clever resemblance to the FBI document's symbol for child love. All right, hang on, New York Times. Before you declare this fake news from your ivory tower, now look at the symbol for Besta Pizza, just 2 doors down from Comet Ping Pong Pizza, boldly using the symbol for boy lover as was recorded on the unclassified FBI document. The evidence begins to reveal that Besta Pizza and Comet Ping Pong Pizza may be competing for the lucrative Washington, D.C. pedophile market.
Like, when you see that, how much of a coincidence theorist do you have to be when you see these symbols to just write them off as mere? Out of all of the infinite shapes and combinations and logos and styles, they just happen to look like that? I mean, that's kind of weird. Ryan says, I counted 7 pizza references, 2 from Pizza Hut, and then is this, are you talking about the notifications for this podcast? Or the other, are 3 of 7? Yeah, I just searched mine. It's showing up 50, and they're all from Maura Murray discussion updates on when Maura Murray ordered pizza in the door for that Maura Murray, the true crime case. So it was just, it was her. She basically used an allegedly stolen credit card to make pizza orders in her dorm room. This is a college student. So discussion about that. And then that's all I got in my. I don't even have promotions. You guys are getting promotions for pizza. I don't even get promotions. So yeah. I don't think it's normal to have 900 personal emails with ongoing discussion about all that. That's weird. Not to mention all this other weird stuff.
Right out in the open. Comet Ping Pong owner James Alefantis needs to explain himself, and so he did, via the Hillary Clinton colluding New York Times. But so many questions remain unanswered. Why was this said by the band Heavy Breathing performing in Comet Ping Pong?
He likes the world sounds. Tamales.
And little boys.
And children. I think I was his manager.
No.
We all have preferences.
How sick and satanic is this video? AC97 says, is it a rule for them to be so dumb and obvious with all the emails and code words just for it to be more of a mockery? Yeah, I mean, it could be that. It could also be they just assume that all their emails are encrypted because they're billionaires or whatever. I don't know, and they have some kind of security. Oldest Youngin in Guidepost says Podesta Brothers art is also an eye-opener.
Yeah, you want to see another eye opener? Okay, before let's go in order here, but yeah. That is such a satanic laugh.
Why is the artwork adorning Comet Ping Pong's walls at the very least so insanely creepy, especially for a family restaurant? Why is Alephantis so close to Tony Podesta as revealed in the WikiLeaks emails? And why does Mr. Podesta collect questionable artwork specializing in grotesque eroticism and pedophilic images, not to mention Podesta's dabbling in what appears to be cannibalistic rituals while continuing his old friendship with convicted pedophile Dennis Hastert? Why is this man wearing an I Love Children shirt in this situation? Why did you write #murder next to this incredibly creepy photo you posted? Why do you find it amusing that this baby is for sale? Why do you associate with this artist? Why is any of this okay? And if these code words are eventually proven to be just another method of communication, then why did the Podesta emails mention the code word pasta for either little boy or sex 78 times? Code word cheese for little girl 85 times. And what does Podesta's friend Herb mean by this statement from a Podesta email? P.S. Do you think I'll do better playing dominoes on cheese than on pasta? According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and the FBI, 460,699 children went missing in 2015 that we know of. Mr. Alephantis, this isn't a witch hunt, and it isn't an attack from fake news that your boyfriend David Brock, founder of Media Matters, would have us all ignore. Either you are the unlucky victim of a fake news onslaught due to your own poorly initiated publicity, or a decades-old pedophile ring operating in the power-hoarding shadows of Washington, D.C. is about to be opened from your front door. John Bound for Infowars.com.
Trump won. Hillary stole 5 states, was ordered to stand down by the intelligence agencies, or everything else is going to come out on this. If you're a radio listener, you're lucky you didn't actually see the...
Whoa, that was kind of quick. Did Alex Jones just say that Hillary was ordered to stand down, or all of this would be publicly released? That's interesting. 2016. Is that... I don't know what's going on there. So let's look at this. Who's seen the EFITs in the abduction of Madeleine McCann? What do the coincidence theorists think about this one? I mean, John is dead on, but Tony, you could argue Tony looks slightly different. But look at John, it perhaps looks like a photograph. Who's ready for another mind shock for those that haven't seen this image? This is Madeleine McCann's father. And Tony Podesta. These are the EFITs of men wanted in the abduction of Madeleine McCann. So did people see the Podestas during the McCann abduction? And yeah, they're all wearing red shoes. I mean, this level of coincidence theorism is insane. And also, there was also Ghislaine Maxwell was the woman who was spotted with Madeleine McCann. I don't know how this was in another location a certain period of time later. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. I mean, I really don't know how coincidence theorists explain all of this. I mean, how do coincidence theorists explain all of this? This 4A this was when Ghislaine Maxwell had short hair. The image reference 4A. There's another one that's a bit better, like a colorized one.
But yeah, you gotta ask the question, like, how many of these high-profile cases are connected? Are they some kind of rituals? I mean, it's just, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Video, the art they tweet and Facebook is of children being murdered, cut in pieces, and raped by men with giant genitalia. So, oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, I don't know anymore.
Yeah, those are the actual Po-Po sketches. Yeah, I go over it in the Madeline McCann podcast. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. I cover all of that. AC97 says, I think her parents sold her some Rosemary's Baby explode. You know what's kind of crazy? It might be like the Jean-Benet Ramsey case, too. There could be a lot of weird stuff going on. I don't know if they necessarily told their wives, right? If these high-powered men in high-powered positions in Illuminati circles are doing some kind of ritual abuse and they have to make sacrifices or whatever, I don't know. I'm not sure I'm 100% convinced the wives would have known. I mean, I don't know. I would think it would be harder for the mother to do it, but who knows? I mean, I don't know.
But that's what they're pushing. It's what they got hanging up in there, and it's what they're doing. And I can't go out there and investigate it myself. We've had reporters on that have been there. They say it's really creepy because...
Fair use. Alex Jones using these popular songs in these background.
I don't have the self-control to be around these type of people. So... You want us to cover Pizzagate? We have covered it. We are covering it. And all I know is God help us. We're in the hands of pure evil. We'll be right back.
That's one way of putting it, Mr. Jones. But this is what real journalism looks like. You don't just automatically assume it's fake. Here's the update from Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 3 million plus Epstein files that just got released Friday are devastating. We've been reviewing them. It's got the smoking gun of human trafficking, sex slavery, torture, you name it. We're about to break it down right now.
Fair use for that jingle. Still fair use? Well, yep, still fair use. Still fair use.
It is Sunday, February 1st, 2026. And I have had time to scan through much of the 3 million files and look at all the great research of human researchers and AI scanning of the files, and it is massive. It is so devastating, all right? Now, most of the media and a lot of leftist activists are trying to focus on Trump and the few things that are there, and we'll look at it, we'll look at all of it. But this is bigger than Donald Trump. This is confirmed Epstein emails with top Democrats and scientists and others literally saying we're having a pizza party. We got one piece of pizza for 7 people. We may bring more pizza. And now they're glowing and empowering and how great this pizza is going to be and the types of pizza it is. Okay? This is very similar to what is in the WikiLeaks documents that came out in 2016 that were confirmed to be John Podesta.
I mean, just the amount of receipts Alex Jones has provided, like how, the Alex Jones's right jar exploded, like how long ago? Like there's no more room in it. There's just no more room.
Upstate New York at a secluded farm with a hot tub and pool, and the 7-9-year-old kids delivered for his pleasure, and the Aleister Crowley rituals. That's all real. And this stuff is even crazier. They're talking about torturing people. They're talking about the benefits of transgenderism to sexualize children. And they can't deny it. It's even hitting mainstream news. It is absolutely incredible.
And again, another shout out to the OG conspiracy theorist, even predating Bill Cooper, Serge Monast, the Canadian conspiracy theorist who actually blew the whistle, even on the trans agenda, Operation Bluebeam, all of this stuff. If you haven't checked out the MindShock podcast on Serge Monast, check him out.
We're about to break it down right now. Now, obviously, the globalist system, the intelligence agencies that have been running all of this, and that's also come out in this and previous data, Mossad, CIA, MI6, and others, they're going to try to spin this and make it all about Trump. If Trump was implicated in this Aleister Crowley stuff and the sex magic and the pedophilia, I'd be all over his ass. But that's not what's here. It's all Democrats. It's brokerage firm heads. It's billionaire Wall Street titans. It's the heads of Harvard and the head scientists at Harvard and the head biological evolutionary scientist. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I posted on X dozens and dozens of these emails, and there's just more and more and more. All how this is a transhumanist death cult that seeks to basically destroy society. And if we will hurt our children, if we will make them a currency of evil, then we'll do anything. So I noticed as soon as this stuff came out Friday, I started covering it and talked about Bill Gates and diseases for underage girls and trying to drug his wife, secretly with antibiotics because he thought he'd gotten her disease. People are like, why aren't you covering Trump? Why aren't you covering Trump? All the stuff in there is Jane Does that were just proven to be false. All the rest of it. He was never at the island. The victims all said they never saw Trump except at Mar-a-Lago, one of them, and that he was nice. So Trump's problem is he got convinced of the new administration to try to shut it down. But you notice Trump came out last night and said, now that I've learned this came out, I'm glad I'm exonerated. No crap.
Mr. President, what did you think of the latest release of Epstein files, and do you think your critics will be satisfied with?
Well, they should be, because it looked like this guy Wolf, who's a writer, was conspiring with Epstein to do harm to me. And I didn't see it myself, but I was told by some very important people that not only does it absolve me, it's the opposite of what people were hoping, the radical left. That Wolf, who's a third-rate writer, was conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to hurt me, politically or otherwise. And that came through loud and clear. So we'll probably sue Wolf on that.
But he was told for national security, cover it up. So that makes him guilty by extension of being part of this. And that's pissed a bunch of Republicans off that I'm telling the truth. But I called this a year ago for my sources and the rest of it. I've been covering this really before anybody. So you got one camp saying I'm covering up for Trump, another camp, saying that just leave the Democrats alone. It's about the facts, folks. You have the Podestas, you have the Clintons, you have Bill Gates, you have all these Harvard heads and all these other university heads up to their eyeballs at pizza parties with the single slices of pizza and things being delivered, and you have the FBI manuals where this is all the key code words they use that's also in the WikiLeaks. I mean, think about the magnitude of the stuff you're reading on screen. And go to Real Alex Jones and read it, or go to the actual data file that the DOJ released that we've linked to the DOJ at Real Alex Jones on X and Infowars.com. I mean, it is incredible. So listen, this is bigger than Donald Trump. Go after Donald Trump. You can find something great. I don't have a dog in that fight. Okay? And I said Trump mishandled all this. But you have the Democrats caught red-handed. And anybody saying you're covering up for Trump when we post these documents that are real is literally aiding and abetting these people. So I'm sick of the whole system. I'm the guy that coined the term false left-right paradigm. With Trump, he was more of a rebel. We had a chance to challenge that, and you see him come after him. He's far from perfect. But the whole world doesn't revolve around Donald Trump. So those of you saying, don't look at this every time I post this stuff that's real, they don't challenge it. They just say, don't post, you're covering up for Trump. Bullshit. If I find anything with Trump in a substance, I will go after him instantly, and everybody knows that. All right? Also in the files are all these letters to Robert Trivers, the top evolutionary theorist biologist in the world, hands down. And Epstein talking about how great this is, again, to train us if we'll accept turning boys into girls and girls into boys, which is even real. It's like South Park. You can't become a dolphin even if you think so, have a fake dolphin fin put on you. That now people will accept designer babies, human cloning, everything, which I told you 25 years ago was the plan because it's in the Tavistock Institute MI6 documents. That's how I knew back in 2009 they're going to release a virus, have 6 feet apart. It will accept turning boys into girls and girls into boys, which is even real. It's like South Park. You can't become a dolphin even if you think so, have a fake dolphin fin put on you. That now people will accept designer babies, human cloning, everything, which I told you 25 years ago was the plan because it's in the Tavistock Institute MI6 documents.
So here's Jones And Jones was also one of the first to talk about Tavistock, and I actually covered a little bit of that on how even Mustache Man from Germany was connected, his banker connected to Tavistock, and he had a British handler as well. I'll be getting into that more as well. But all of this being connected, I mean, this, like, the amount of coincidence theorists cope to just shrug your shoulders and say, mainstream narrative's still good enough. Mainstream narrative's still true, despite all of this. I mean, the gophery. I mean, it's just insane.
That's how I knew back in 2009 they're going to release a virus, have 6 feet apart, give you a vaccine that raises your immune system, because it was in different UN documents in the Rockefeller plan as well, the next year, Operation Lockstep. So I've known all this. I've exposed it before this stuff came out about Epstein being into cloning and having hundreds of babies himself. I said all that. Peter Nygaard got convicted of all this. He was heavily involved with Epstein as well. So now we need to say, okay, the public forced the release of these documents. We put pressure on Trump, pressure on Congress. It got released, 3+ million documents, hundreds of thousands of images, 2,000 videos. Now we need prosecutions. Now we need to beat the drum to prosecute everybody involved. And that means a hell of a lot of Democrats. So the media has tried to spin this. Trump stepped right into the trap of going along with the cover-up because they convinced him it was an attack on him. Now he's like, wow, see, this vindicates me. I'm going to sue the author, Wolf, who is in the emails saying, yeah, we know Trump's innocent, and Epstein saying he's innocent. So how do we cook something up to get him? But see, Trump has bad advisors, people that are...
Yeah, I don't want to just go all this with Trump, but...
all this confirmed stuff with sex slavery, it covers up for Trump. No, it doesn't. You are covering up for the pedophile.
Will continue.
A whole bunch of heads.
Okay, so, yeah, that's Jones' coverage. Again, the Alex Jones's right jar has exploded from capacity how many years ago now? I mean, it's insane. For those that are allergic to Alex Jones for whatever reason, let's look at Ben Swann's coverage from 2017.
Well, Pizzagate. It became a major story weeks ago when an armed man decided to investigate it. Pizzagate. It became a major story weeks ago when an armed man decided to investigate a D.C. area pizza place for himself. This man right here, he carried a rifle into a pizza parlor.
And again, another thing coincidence theorists, they don't have the mental capacity to comprehend is the way plausible deniability works and shills work is either MK Ultra or not, in order to discredit a conspiracy, they get some kind of crazy loon to do something like this and say, see how crazy this theory is because this guy did this, therefore evil people don't exist and don't do this evil stuff. And the goofs just fall for it. All the statist goofs with Stockholm Syndrome, they just believe the idiot box for some reason.
And then fired it at the floor. Media is telling you the entire story is a hoax or fake news. But what does that even mean? I spent the last month investigating. So what exactly is Pizzagate? And are there any actual facts to support this story? I've got to warn you, what we're going to talk about today.
And that's, again, I actually haven't watched this clip, so I actually don't know what he's going to say. But see, this is how you do a news story, right? Is it fake news? That's perfectly fine journalism. Like, do the actual investigation. Don't declare it fake like from the onset without doing an investigation.
Tonight will be disturbing to some people, but this is a reality check you won't see anywhere else. Pizzagate actually comes from the WikiLeaks release of hacked emails from Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta. In all, WikiLeaks dumped around 50,000 email messages, and it was from those emails that the claims that John Podesta may be part of a child sex trafficking ring come from. Now, to be clear, not one single email in the Podesta emails discusses child sex trafficking or pedophilia. That is a fact. But there are dozens of what seem to be strangely worded emails dealing with pizza and handkerchiefs. Self-described online investigators say that those words in the emails about pizza and the talk of handkerchiefs is code language used by pedophiles. So how did a DC pizza parlor get pulled into the story? Well, again, read any mainstream report and they indicate that Comet Ping Pong Pizza was somehow linked to this fake story and has no relation to anyone involved. But the truth is that's not true either. What media is ignoring is that the Comet Ping Pong Pizza place is actually referenced in the Podesta emails at least a dozen or so times, and that the owner of that place, James Alfantis, is a friend of John Podesta.
You know what's also insane? Like, how was this not the complete end of mainstream media, fake stream media, whatever you want to call them? Like, once all of this is already out, like, why, like, how does the news have any viewers whatsoever? I mean, why would you trust mainstream news outlets declaring a story false before investigating it and getting every single detail wrong regarding the story? I mean, it's just bonkers.
He was actually named, this is kind of strange, by GQ magazine as one of the top 50 most powerful people in Washington. Yes, we're talking about a pizza parlor owner. Now let's talk facts here. There is no solid evidence that Comet Ping Pong Pizza is being used to run a child sex trafficking ring. But there are some very strange connections between Comet Ping Pong Pizza and a second pizza place 2 doors over, Besta Pizza, and the accusations of pedophilia. Now, this is where things start to get strange when you research this story. Now, to begin, I need to show you a 2007 unclassified FBI document. That document, according to the FBI, contains commonly used symbols by pedophiles to express their preference in children. I want you to see these images here. These are the images. Notice this one on the end, the triangle. That image signifies something called boy love. The pizza place next door to Comet Ping Pong Pizza, Besta Pizza, well, this was their logo until only a few weeks ago. Clearly, you can see that the Besta logo actually contains the same image, I'm going to show you again, as that boy lover image. Interestingly, after Pizzagate investigators pointed this out, Besta Pizza changed their logo, and there it is now. They removed the triangle. Also, Comet Ping Pong, owned by Alfantis, is the place where a number of performance artists perform regularly. 2 of the groups that perform there, who you can see advertised, by the way, on this Comet Ping Pong poster, include a group called Heavy Breathing and another group called Sex Stains. Well, if you check out the YouTube videos by these bands, Heavy Breathing has songs that do joke about pedophilia, and the band Sex Stains has a video that includes, and you see it right there, that same boy lover symbol. It's nearly identical to the one that the FBI does say is a pedophile code symbol for boy love.
So again, how much of a devout coincidence theorist do you have to be to say, oh, that's just all coincidental? Every pizza place has that. Doesn't every pizza place have those kinds of logos and these kinds of bands performing this kind of material? I mean, when you go to Pizza Hut, that's all the same stuff, right? I mean, so it's totally innocent. Because and even if that were true and every pizza place did do that, I mean, wouldn't that raise an eyebrow? But to pretend and hallucinate that this is all above board? Like, how much of a clueless bootlicker do you have to be to pretend and hallucinate that this is all innocent?
As I said, there are some strange things there. As for the owner of the pizza place, James Alfantis, well, he was one time in a relationship with David Brock, who ran Media Matters for America. Well, since Pizzagate began to blow up online, he has made his Instagram profile, Jimmy Comet, private.
You know what's kind of funny? The Media Matters, so like if you're the accused, you're just going to get your buddy on Media Matters to declare this all fake news. I mean, you know, it's like, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of funny, isn't it? Anybody think that's kind of funny? So a watchdog journalism organization that supposedly is all about fair and balanced coverage and exposing disinfo, misinfo, and fake news, that's your body. That's the body of the accused. So the accused is going to use his body to just discredit all of this legitimate evidence. And nobody raises an eyebrow. It's about to get even more coincidental for the people that new to this story.
But an archive search of Instagram reveals a number of strange photographs and words with strange and disturbing images associated with them. Look, to the point where we can't show you those pictures. We're not even going to describe them to you because some viewers would find it too disturbing to share on TV. Now let's talk about the Podesta brothers, because remember, it was John Podesta's email that was hacked. In those leaked Podesta emails, John Podesta talks about his close relationship with Dennis Hastert, the former Speaker of the House, who was recently sentenced to 15 months in prison for abusing boys years ago. He was referred to by the judge as a serial child molester.
Again, I mean, this is all coincidental. Doesn't everybody have friends like this getting sentenced for these kinds of crimes, right? I mean, all coincidental, nothing to see here.
According to the Washington Post, visitors to Tony Podesta's home in Falls Church got an eyeful when they walked into a bedroom at the Podesta residence hung with multiple color pictures by Katie Grannon, a photographer known for documentary-style pictures of naked teenagers in their parents' suburban homes. And to be clear, that just begins to scratch the surface of how strange some of this stuff is. And bear in mind, we can't get into a lot of the real details of it because of the limits on broadcasting this on television. But it is some very strange stuff. Now keep in mind, again, there is no proof here that there is a child sex ring being operated out of a DC pizza parlor. Investigators have...
The other thing the brain dead don't really realize, if there was definitive proof released to the public, I mean, obviously there'd be arrests already going on. So, like, what level of mental disability does one have to think, like, definitive 100% proof, right? I mean, this is all damning evidence, but it's not irrefutable. Theoretically, you could say if they're all mentally ill, making jokes and hiring these sick bands because they maybe all want to do this stuff, but they don't actually do it. Like, I guess, I mean, I don't know how somebody would defend this. I'm guessing that's how a lawyer might try to defend it. They're all joking. They're all just mentally ill and joking. Now, to physically, like, what would you need? You would need, physical transport or documented video evidence, which I think they actually do have that, but maybe at the time it wasn't released to the public. I don't want to really check, but they said there's a ton of videos in the new release of the documents. But here's another, just again tracing all of this and how it was presented in the media. So this is the guy who's debunking the theories. So again, the coincidence theorists who just pretend Pizzagate was debunked. Like, was it Brian Callen melting down over Pizzagate being debunked, which is a big red flag as well? And actually, I didn't even know this. Brian Callen was apparently Me Too'd by 4 women 5 years ago. I didn't even know about that. So, Jeranism, of all people, actually he talked about that. I'm trying to get the exact clip. I think it might be here. Just give me a second here. Yeah, just give me a second here. I'm going to get the clip of Brian Callen, because the way he became unhinged over Pizzagate was kind of interesting. But this is the guy that debunked Pizzagate. Now he's put away. This is the ABC News reporter. And as is the case with a lot of alleged debunkings, it all goes, this is, He was arrested 2023, sentenced to 6 years 2023. James Gordon Meek. But like always, like he just said it was debunked. There was no actual evidence of debunking, but all of the goofs, the coincidences, they just ran with it because, oh, some ABC News reporter declared it debunked. Therefore, it was actually debunked. And why? Is there a conflict of interest? Because if he's involved in all of it, of course, he would try to pretend it was debunked to shut it down so nobody would look at him. I'm just pulling up the Brian Callen clip, because Brian Callen's always been a goof. I don't know, like he's gotten into some conspiracy stuff. Does his father work for the Council of Foreign Relations? Is that what that was? Like, who's familiar with Brian Callen? Like the goof that was on Joe Rogan a lot of times? Yeah, I said Jeranism. He actually did a video on Brian Callen and Pizzagate specifically, believe it or not. Believe it or not. This was 7 years ago. August 31st, 2018, Jeranism, or actually, no, this was re-uploaded. Okay. Are we back? Are we back? Are we back? Welcome, Sarah. All right. Yeah, no, nobody missed anything. We just kind of cut out, but looks like we're back. No surprise. This stream is I would probably guess it's gonna get shut down before the end of this because I think I have some receipts I don't think anybody's put up before. So, but anyway, let's go in order. Here's the Brian Callen clip, and watch this goof's reaction. Does anybody know if this goof put out anything regarding this since? So here's just his attitude when I think somebody brought up Flat Earth, but
You're not a scientist. So when
so
why should you listen? You're not a historian either.
Definitely
You're
don't
not
listen
a historian
to me.
either.
Definitely don't listen to me, my friend. But
we do.
But well, because
you can't just say if you're not a historian.
No, this is
or
very
a scientist.
no. This is very.
That's what you just said.
This is a very important distinction. This is a very important distinction. Excuse me. When all of the science, when I'm an educated guy who's been alive for 50 years, and there's no scientist, and I mean there's no one who has been alive, who is even a writer, who is a scientist,
that's not true.
who is an astronaut, who works at NASA, who would ever say that the Earth is flat. We put that to rest. We put that to rest. Even when Christopher Columbus was alive, most people who are educated.
NASA? What is NASA? Nassau Coliseum?
Knew the Earth was not flat. We put this.
I'm with you, brother.
So when
all our
listeners,
listeners, I'd say 99% of our listeners are with you.
I don't know. You're putting me on the same level as that moron. You can't.
Now, the goof next to him is Brendan Schwab. Or are you asking who this is? This is Brian Callen, not... this is Brian Callen, the goof that was on Joe Rogan a number of times.
I can't do that.
I can do that.
No, you cannot. I'm telling you.
Wow.
I wonder who you got that from.
Oh, I'd love to hear it, Eddie.
Are you familiar with it?
Pizzagate?
Yes.
No, but sounds
no.
dope.
Yes, I do.
You know, I've never heard of it. Please explain to me.
So,
I'm not going to explain it. I'm not even going to get to it, but
it's
all I'm
such
going to
bullshit,
say.
Eddie, before you go into it, it's been debunked. It's the biggest bunch of bullshit.
It's been debunked.
Dude,
Hell no.
Eddie,
Oh, my God.
It's fake news. They proved it's fake news.
And look how triggered, like look at the soy and the estrogen dripping through this guy's face. On how triggered, how insta-triggered he got over this. And again, debunked by this guy.
And if you believe that, it's ridiculous. It's the big. So the Democratic Party, the power structure in the Democratic Party are pedophiles, and they all communicate with each other with those secret paddles. Is this what we're going to go into?
We're going to pop off like this? We're going to kick the community off like this?
It was proven to be a horseshit story. If you buy into it, the joke is on you. I'm telling you. It was proven to be a horseshit story. It was proven to be a horseshit story. It was proven to be a horseshit story. It was proven to be a horseshit story.
Was it? By Media Matters? By, the people involved? By the guards guarding themselves, saying it was BS? But they just declared that it was fake news. They just declared it was debunked without actually debunking anything. And goof, so either Callen is just some kind of brain-dead goof who took it on face value on the idiot box, or potentially, I don't know, I'm not going to say he's involved, like, directly participating, but is his father Council of Foreign Relations? His father is somewhere up there. And perhaps he has knowledge of this. And so he's just trying to shut it down. Even if he's not directly involved as like a participant, if he has knowledge of it and he wants to shut it down because of his father or whatever other connections, he sure is acting like... I mean, look how unhinged he is over it. Like, if you really think it's just fake nonsense, would you get this unhinged?
If you buy into it, the joke is on you. I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Wow.
I'm telling you.
Did you hear what? That's very unbelievable. It's incredible.
So what is the? So are you saying what? Are you saying that the power structure?
You know what?
Pedophiles?
This is what I'm saying.
Come on.
This is ridiculous.
What?
But hold on a second.
This is what I'm saying. That shit's real now.
It's a fake news story, Eddie.
Dude,
it's a fake news story. Every credible news organization's at every credible news organization's at
You mean the Podesta's friends? at Media Matters with their connections at all of the news organizations? Those people? I mean, the goofery of Callan is insane.
It's all bullshit.
CNN?
Like, I don't know.
Washington
let's
Post?
go
Where do you get your news, Brian?
Or the
Where do
New
you
York
get your news,
Times.
Brian?
And Joe Rogan finds all of this just absolutely hilarious, like the goofery of Callan. I mean, I think he would probably think it was weird the way Callan reacted. I should have asked Eddie Bravo about Callan when I did the interview with Eddie, because Callan was always really weird.
Economists, take both sides. Take the right and the left. It's a joke. It was a joke.
Wow.
It
All
was
I
a
gotta
joke.
say is wow.
So Eddie.
What was the joke? The debunking? Because they didn't actually debunk anything. That was the joke?
So the power structure.
You think it's a joke?
Eddie, the power structure are all pedophiles? What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
That's what I'm talking about.
Man love? So the power structure are pedophiles.
Brian,
It's a joke.
Brian,
It's a joke.
Have you seen the documentary Conspiracy of Silence? Have you seen that?
Sure haven't, buddy.
You still, of course you
Sure haven't. I don't get my
you're
news
so
from
far on the other
YouTube.
side.
Brian Callan thinks Conspiracy of Silence is YouTube? I mean, like, how brain dead can you get? Like, he just assumed it was a YouTube documentary, as if there are no accurate videos on YouTube. I mean, there's a ton of videos that align with whatever Callan believes, but, so according to him, that's all fake? And what was the full story? So that was the 1994 documentary that was banned and unaired. Was it a BBC History Channel co-production? Oh no, it was CBC. It was No, not CBC. It was yeah, it doesn't say. It was independently. Okay. It's ITV. Is it ITV? Either way. Yeah, it was ITV. And I don't know if BBC or History Channel were like planning, I forget what the release pipeline was, but they did not air it. But anyway, obviously Callan, clueless about that as he is clueless about everything.
I don't get my news from YouTube. I get my news from
CNN? Washington Post?
credible news organizations.
Like Friends of the Podestas that don't want to implicate their buddy at the pizza bar. That's where Callan gets it. And look how triggered the goof is. Look at the goof's face. Look at this goof melting down over something he calls a joke. Like, who melts down this hard over some kind of theory they consider is silly or nonsense?
From independent lines of inquiry.
Hey, Joe, can you do me a favor?
Independent? He just assumed it was debunked. Like, how is that independent?
Since I'm outside again, what is Pizzagate?
Okay.
Okay, so, interesting. So, Callan's meltdown was very telling here, though. I mean, look at this unhinged goof just going off. And again, the guy that allegedly debunked it by just declaring the magic words debunked, that was the extent of the investigation. That's who Callan took on blind faith, allegedly. Unless, of course, he's just downplaying it on purpose, and that's his role because his pops is counsel foreign relations. Alright, next up, we're going to look at the updated Ben Swan video that just came out recently.
Epstein is Pizzagate. Let that sink in for a minute. Jeffrey Epstein is Pizzagate. 10 years ago, Pizzagate was by far the #1 trending topic on Twitter. But the claim of pedophile elites who preyed on children was so insane
There he is.
that Pizzagate was shrugged off as a wild fever dream of a conspiracy theory. I was the first mainstream reporter to dare give the facts surrounding Pizzagate. My corporate career was destroyed over it, so what? My professional reputation was obliterated, that wasn't fun. And I wasn't the only one. Anyone who dared to suggest that this might be true was blacklisted, shadow banned, or thrown off of social media. But then, just days ago, the largest dump of Epstein files revealed what some of us have been telling you for a decade.
Very fair he is.
That Pizzagate is real.
Still fair he is.
Not that there is a pizza parlor at the center of a child trafficking ring, but that child trafficking rings run by some of the most powerful people in the world do exist. Tonight, I want to remind you of what I told you then and compare that to what we have now learned.
Pizzagate, it became himself,
Well, the story that came to be known as Pizzagate did not begin with a rumor, nor was it created by Macedonian sheep farmers, as CNN actually once claimed. It began with...
I mean, how often has CNN been sued now for, like, because they're claiming this is all fake, pretending it's all fake and debunked. So it seems like they knew the whole time it was real. But even if they didn't, I mean, just to be to be that inaccurate, I mean, that's just wild.
WikiLeaks, authentic, verified emails taken from the phone of the chairman of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign, John Podesta. Those emails were real. In all these years, by the way, no one has actually disputed that. Inside those emails were communications that struck a lot of people, not just online commentators, but researchers and former law enforcement, as unusual to say the least.
Man, he's got all this music in the background. Obviously, fair he is.
References to pizza, and to pizza handkerchiefs, and to maps, to private gatherings involving powerful people. Some very bizarre stuff. In fact, the first people to draw attention to those emails were a group of self-proclaimed pedophiles on 4chan and 8chan who claimed that Podesta was using the same terminology that they use to speak in coded language.
That is both sick and interesting at the same time, because they're almost like, not necessarily CIs, but they're criminals who know how that specific type of crime is executed and communicated, which is interesting because I guess coincidence theorists are going to call them wrong too.
And in researching those emails, I found a 2010 entry into Urban Dictionary. It's still there, by the way. It confirms that cheese pizza is a commonly coded term for child pornography, CP.
I want you to see these images here. These are the images. Notice their logo. After pizza,
madman for claiming that years ago I was called a dangerous conspiracy theorist and a madman for claiming that pedophiles and possibly even pedophile elites might use coded language, even though it was online pedophiles who said that's exactly what they do.
Well, not only that, but the FBI and actual law enforcement that investigates these people also, that's what's known.
Which brings us back to this new Epstein release, because in it, the word pizza is mentioned 911 times.
Okay, I don't like that number. Oh man, I didn't know the exact number. I thought it said over 900. He's stating here with definitive certainty it was exactly 9/11. Oh man, that's kind of a problem.
That's right, 911 times adults are emailing back and forth about slices of pizza and about pizza parties. And the word pizza is often paired with grape soda.
Yeah, QCZ says 4chan does it again. And again, like, everybody makes fun of 4chan. They call it crazy nonsense. What is the accuracy of 4chan versus mainstream media? We should do a podcast on that.
In bizarre context within emails addressed to Epstein by individuals whose names have been mostly redacted. So here's one. Quote, "This is better than a Chinese cookie. Let's go for pizza and grape soda again. No one else can understand." Or this one, "Mr. Epstein would like to see the menu from the pizza place. Could someone send it, please?" Or this one from 2014, "Sit down, because I know you won't believe this. Are you sitting? Jeffrey says he wants to go out to a pizza place with you. He did not mention a particular pizza place, but he knows you are in the know on this," with a little winking emoji. All of the emails that I just shared with you.
Yeah, who would put a winking emoji on something as innocuous as finding a place to eat and I know you're in the know on this. That's kind of weird.
Were from 2014, right about the same time period of the John Podesta emails that WikiLeaks published and started the entire Pizzagate saga.
Now let's talk about the Podesta brothers, because remember, it was John Podesta's email that was hacked. In those leaked Podesta emails, John Podesta talks about his only sentence,
but as we pointed out, being involved with the brothers again. Yeah, well, speaking of the Podesta brothers, again, there was no direct evidence of them being involved in child sex trafficking from those emails. But as we pointed out at the time, there was a lot of bizarre communication.
Man, this audio is just, I don't know why there's so much music in the background here. Fair he is.
Including an email from John Podesta to his brother Tony, the subject line, "Last night was fun," and the first line reads, "Still in torture chamber." That email got really no attention 10 years ago, but today, a 2009 email from Jeffrey Epstein is getting a lot of attention, as it asks, "Where are you? You okay? I love the torture video."
To the fallout from the latest release of the Jeffrey Epstein documents, they include communications between the rich and powerful, from the co-owner of an NFL team to billionaires like Elon Musk.
CNN teams are carefully sifting through the largest, and what the Justice Department says is the last, batch of Jeffrey Epstein files.
Friday's release of millions of pages related to Jeffrey Epstein provided a closer look at his connection to world elites from Hollywood to Washington, Wall Street to Buckingham Palace and beyond.
Yeah, well, all those so-called news anchors and their newsrooms for a decade blacklisted this topic. They conditioned you to live in ignorance. They called it a conspiracy. They called me and so many others dangerous for even looking.
For all that is here, there has not been one single public investigation of any of this, not from local police, not from the FBI, no one. And that has to be the big question, not for Podesta or for pizza parlor owners, but for law enforcement. Based on what may be or may not be here, the big question is, why hasn't any investigation taken place?
Well, 10 years later, no investigation ever took place. It's a failure of a complicit government and also of a corporate media that didn't just ignore this evil. They helped to cover it up and keep it operating in the shadows. See, by refusing to engage honestly in 2016, by choosing mockery over investigation, by silencing questions instead of asking them, they created the very environment where this evil could thrive. See, they didn't kill bad information as they pretended. They guaranteed it would survive. See, I wasn't censored the way that I was because my reporting,
again, fair he is, but he's making some real good points here, isn't he?
Was false. I was censored because it was dangerous. Dangerous to narratives, dangerous to reputations, dangerous to a media culture that had grown comfortable acting as a gatekeeper rather than a watchdog. See, the unspoken rule was simple. Some questions are not allowed. Not because they're wrong, no, but because they lead to the truth. And the truth? Pizzagate, at least in the form of a cabal of elites and powerful people who delight in the physical and sexual abuse of children, is real. Remember how we started. Epstein is Pizzagate. But the other reality it's time to accept, Pizzagate is much more and much bigger than just Jeffrey Epstein.
So there you have it. Now, who's ready for some more receipts that I don't think anybody has put forth as much as this individual. And this was all quite some time ago. Just give me a second here. And I will put up the receipts I haven't seen anybody talk about, but perhaps they have since, but back then nobody was talking about this when I initially started looking into this, as Eddie Bravo would say. So Alefantis actually has quite a lot of properties. And we're going to look into the Lydecker Tunnel. Because, yeah, we're going to get into the tunnels. Because people are saying there's no evidence there are tunnels. Or is there? Are there tunnels and shafts connecting a lot of these properties? Let's see. Let's see if we get shut down before I get a chance to put all this up, but just give me a minute here. Organize this. And there's some extensive tunnels under DC. Like, I'm gonna put up some images here, but I mean, they are extensive, multi-level tunnels. I mean, this isn't just like one random little tunnel, like Prohibition era or anything like that. I mean, these are incredible tunnel systems. And we're going to overlay some maps on some of these properties here. So, let's look at this. Get your, I hope everybody's sitting down for this. I mean, the coincidence theorists have probably checked out a long time ago by now. So, this was 9 years ago by Fortified. At least 4 of Alefantis' properties are connected by tunnels. And we're going to look at there's several miles of water tunnels directly under these properties and other properties. So this is a photo from 1900, so you get the size of this. I mean, this is just one of them, but they're not that small. I mean, you could fit, like, you could drive a small vehicle through some of them. Credit here again to Fortified. And just check this out. And this is the route of the Washington Aqueduct Conduit here. I'm going to get into some more maps in a second. And there's not just water tunnels. There's other types of tunnels too, but let's just go over these. In a History Channel documentary, Cities of the Underworld, Washington, D.C., they actually go over some of them. And look how big some of these are. I mean, they're pretty big. They're pretty big. So the question is, do these specific tunnels link up under these properties as alleged? So here is the Washington Lydecker Tunnel air shafts. And you can see here the size. I mean, these are big. These are big. And then you could see where they're located. And here's the smoking gun, people. Here's the smoking gun. So these are all the properties owned by Alefantis and Clinton and Podesta from the reservoir. And you can see where the tunnels run. So you can see how they directly connect some of these properties. Isn't this interesting? Let's do the overlay here. I mean, this is what happens when you actually do proper investigation instead of just pretending something's debunked just by declaring it. So, oh, I forgot one more image here. I mean, look how extensive some of these tunnels are. They're multi-level, too. So, you have these vertical shafts. So some of these are 3 levels. I mean, look at this 32-foot shaft. I mean, this is incredible. And this is just a reference. This isn't what's specifically under this building, but just so people can get an idea of how extensive these tunnel systems are. Because a lot of goofs pretend they're not even there. Like a lot of coincidence theorists. They just hallucinate that none of these exist. So this is the Lydecker Tunnel. Completed 1901, up to 10 meters in diameter, runs 4 miles from Georgetown Reservoir to McMillan Reservoir. And shortly after 1926, a second tunnel was dug beside it. Okay, this is all easily verifiable. You plug it into the map, and then you could see the overlay here on where these tunnels run, and coincidentally, they line up to 5 of these properties. So that's the exhibit. I mean, case open and shut at this point. Any questions? Any questions at this point? That's the presentation. I mean, does anybody have any questions? I mean, I find all of this very, very interesting, especially this. These search terms, what a coincidental lineup here on these search terms. But anyway, I don't know if anybody's gone over these tunnels lining up through 5 of these properties. Not 1, not 2, not 3, 5. 5. Okay, then. AC97. Oh, yeah. Where do we go from here? So, I'm going to have to close this out with something, Yeah, so one of the theories, of course, is that this is all pushed on purpose to kind of go into a civil war situation with martial law unleashed to usher in the New World Order. So they want to push people to such a breaking point where, let's see if I have a meme for this occasion. I usually have one for most. We have this one. Of course, I do not condone such things, but there are people sharing this meme. And then there's also... Where's this other one? Can't find the other one. Now I really want to find it whenever I can't find something that motivates me. This isn't the one I wanted to put up, but I don't know how coincidence theorists explain this one. But yeah, I don't know. Sandra Bagatka in the chat saying, I think the release of this stuff is intended to expletive with us, psychological warfare. Yeah, I mean, again, let's not fall for false dichotomies. Like, there's multi-point, they might have multiple point goals to achieve several things at the same time. Okay, I found it. I think this is an unknown author, but I'm going to close this all out with this here. quite haunting. But, yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen here. The men who wanted to be left alone. The most terrifying force of death comes from the hands of men who wanted to be left alone. They try so very hard to mind their own business and provide for themselves and whom they love. They resist every impulse to fight back, knowing the forced and permanent change of life that will come from it. They know the moment they fight back, their lives as they have lived them are over. The moment the men who wanted to be left alone are forced to fight back, it is a form of suicide. They're literally killing off who they used to be, which is why when forced to take up violence, these men who wanted to be left alone fight with unholy vengeance against those who murdered their former lives. They fight with raw hate and a drive that cannot be fathomed by those who are merely play acting at politics and terror. True terror will arrive at these people's door, and they will cry, scream, and beg for mercy, but it will fall upon the deaf ears of the men who just wanted to be left alone. And I think one of the I forgot, I don't know if this was a Twitter discussion or something. Andrew in the chat saying Hillary looks stunning. Oh, wow. I don't know why I found that so funny. Oh, man. Okay. So, oh, man. Okay. So, the time, I forgot who said this on Twitter, but somebody actually made a point that, Ruby Ridge, Waco, around that time was the time to make a stand because there were a lot more able-bodied freedom lovers at that point. Whereas now, so much more of the population is just obese and video game, TikTok, brain-destroyed population that they can't really put up that much of a fight. Andrew, the AI selfie video is copyright. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave it here, but I'll go over it on the next live if you guys want to go over that kind of stuff. But once again, just the track record against the coincidence theorists and those that maintain coincidence theory, not looking good. But thanks again, everybody, for joining us for another examination into logic and reason. Ethan W., welcome in the chat, saying poison for years makes sense why nobody wants to fight. I mean, I don't know how, obviously this is non-aggression type of show. But, I actually don't know what would happen if all the motorcycle gangs, the Hells Angels, all the mountain men of Appalachia, however many of them are left, all the militias, they have, they're 6 figures strong. Some of them have tanks and helicopters. And just, those that have had enough in just rural areas. I really don't know what would happen in that kind of situation, not to mention what percentage of the U.S. military would go against their own. Ethan W. Oh, yeah, I covered HARP and some of the geoengineering and aerosol spraying before. But, yeah. So, yeah, this one was long in the making. I think I provided some receipts nobody else did. But, yeah, until next time. Get into more exciting stuff today, like the Epstein files. The coincidence theorist cope in pretending. They didn't shame. They didn't absolutely shame and call everyone crazy for believing some of these theories propagated over the past few decades that are now substantiated within official Epstein document files. You know what's weird, though? When Epstein was first arrested, recently arrested before his alleged death a number of years ago, relatively recently, and I would think that would have been the end of widespread coincidence theorists. And yet, there are still goofs, like full-time goofs. Shout out Alex Boge on Twitter. I mean, there's goofs like Alex Boge just cope spiraling, pretending, like, in their corruption denial, pretending like there's no conspiracies that are true, etc. Just humiliation cope spiraling for days on end in single threads. I mean, it's hilarious. Hilarious. Like, some of these humiliation fetishists, shout out Craig. I mean, Craig of Fight the Flat Earth has single-handedly inspired an entire generation of humiliation fetishists who are just, they're just so happy and gleeful to humiliate themselves, proving their mental disabilities and deficiencies full-time on the interwebs. So, shout out Craig as well. I mean, it just... I mean, Comedy Central can't hold a candle to these cope spiraling goofs. Yeah, the Ant One started talking about Gabriela Rico Jimenez. Yes, I'll briefly touch upon that today, mostly to expose coincidence theorist psychology, the mental weakness of coincidence theorists. Because they're so mentally weak, it's easier to bootleg and put their blind faith in corrupt authorities and pretend that they would never do these horrible things that whistleblowers have been blowing the whistle on for decades and decades, if not centuries, because they're just too mentally weak to confront the fact that evil people exist and they don't act alone. And you would think post-Epstein era this wouldn't really be, but then again, you still got the Alex Boges of the world. Pinto Sack says, anything interesting in the new record drop? There's a lot, actually. I mean, they dropped, well, how many was it millions of files? I mean, obviously, you know, going through all of them is tough, but, you know, there's people hard at work, and they've highlighted a few that I'll go over. Okay, let's see. All right, where are we at here? Let's get some receipts into the Epstein files. This is really dark stuff, so... Actually, let's see here. All right, really dark stuff here. This is the model whistleblower. Mexican model Gabriela Rico Jimenez vanished after saying this outside Monterey Hotel. She was ranting about ritual murders and cannibalism in front of Mexican Carlos Slim, the guy that actually funded the Sound of Freedom. Yeah, a lot of insiders here, very shady stuff here. And I remember all the coincidence theorists were in their typical cope spirals, pretending she just did a lot of drugs. As if that would somehow preclude her. Like, as if there's some magic Dungeons and Dragons spell, where if you do a lot of drugs and get really drunk, that'll make sure you will never be put in any kind of situation with evil people who are doing rituals. Like, all you have to do is drink a lot, do a lot of drugs, and then it becomes an impossibility that you're ever in a situation where they're committing any kind of rituals. That's coincidence theorist cope. I mean, these goofs are brain dead. Absolutely brain dead goofs. So, yeah.
O sea,
let's find the full clip here. This is only a shorter clip, and then we'll get into the Epstein files, verifying all of this. It's dark stuff. I don't want to spend too much time on this, but yeah, dark stuff. Welcome, Clark Rice. Brianna says, lots of people have said that the layout of Epstein Island, specifically the different rooms, were designed to disorient victims and make them seem delusional if they were to speak out. Magic Ordered Mike says, Chuck rules, in my opinion. Just saying Jet Li is underrated because his martial art isn't really fighting, they say. Nah, Chuck's a bum. Chuck Liddell is probably the least talented champion there's ever been. But that was kind of his strength, because he was using no talent as talent. Alright, let me get why can't I get the full video? YouTube is being weird. All right. Okay, the people where you come from are crazy. They killed a lot of people. Death to that kind of human. And you could hear the despair in her voice, the absolute despair. You already took me there? What? Like, what are the cops doing here? I do have a deep dive prepared on this. I don't know if I want to go through it all here. The translation is on the screen. And you know, it's kind of hard to figure out, like, this fat cop. Why are cops always fat? So this fat cop, no, she's no Sammo Hung. I don't know if necessarily they're in on it. Not just not being in on it. I would guess that they're so mentally weak, they would have to convince themselves that she's lying and she's crazy. Luis, esta es la triste. And look at these goofs saying that she's attacking the police officer. The police officer is attempting to kidnap her. Where's the attack on the officer? The officer, I don't know if Mexican cops are armed. This video is blurry. So this giant fat cop is approaching her. She's advancing on her, getting in her face, trying to grab her. And yes, she did fight back. Look at that, is a fight back. So if some kind of fat terrorist in a costume tries to kidnap you and you fight back, that's considered assault on the officer? Wow. She tried to attack the police officer? Well, the police officer was attacking her and trying to kidnap her. That's dark stuff. I mean, you could see the propaganda spin immediately. Supposedly, she also specifically named George W. Bush as being involved. And supposedly all hospital records disappeared. Now, I do have some interesting receipts here, because a lot of coincidence theorist goofs were pretending this was all a made-up non-story, etc. Brianna says, crazy to think that most of her info online was completely wiped after this. Nah, well, that's what archives are for, my friend, and I managed to get some of them. Clark says, if there's an active group eating humans, cops would definitely be involved. I don't know about all the cops on the bottom, though. I mean, maybe like the top-ranking ones, but I don't know. I don't think everybody on the bottom is in on it. So there's some interesting Epstein files released. Let's look at some of them here. Interview purported victim, August 28th, 2019. While on this yacht, he witnessed African-American males having expletive with white blonde females, all of who were bleeding during intercourse. He was a victim of a type of ritualistic sacrifice in which his feet were cut with a scimitar, but left no scarring. On the yacht, he witnessed babies being dismembered, their intestines removed, individuals eating the feces from these intestines. He was also expletive by George Bush 1. Victim disclosed he was escorted to the FBI building by Michael Moore, who is the creator of True Pundit, described by multiple online sources as a conspiracy-driven news website that attempts to paint the FBI in a bad light. Moore has a criminal record as a result of an FBI investigation, as you would expect him to if he's blowing the whistle on them, right? Okay. That's dark and disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Coincidence theorists will, I guess, pretend he's just lying. This is another weird one here. December 18th, 2009. Subject Kenya on the plane now with Maddie. We are about to take off for Amsterdam to Nairobi. We landed the morning of the 19th in Amsterdam, late evening. And late evening of the 19th in Nairobi. On Sunday morning, we fly into the bush to Cotter's Camp in the Masai Mara, then to Sasab. Okay, we cannot thank you enough. Yet another life experience. If the Maasai warriors don't eat us, the pirates from Somalia will. Coming to PB to see you in January, taking photos. We have a ball and think of you all the time. Can bring a little baby back for you or two. Boys or girls, so Madonna. Okay. Wow. That's messed up. Raised by Gypsies. If you just search her name, the video will come up. Papa Pump says, Bruce, do you use the Wayback Machine? Yeah, I also built an AI that was using Google Cache. And apparently that stopped working for some reason. I saved quite a bit of stuff, but, alright, maybe I should drop... Trying to find. I had a few smoking guns on Gabriela Rico Jimenez's case. I don't know how many people. I might as well do a little bit of a tease here, because the coincidence theorists were claiming that nobody knew her and all of that. But, so apparently she had a friend. I don't know if I want to say her name. So apparently the background stories was that they both were used as models and for these parties in Paris, London, New York, and Brazil, and they had escaped, but they were held against their will. Because if anybody's familiar with Epstein and how he worked and how they recruited models, they weren't kept chained in a dungeon. They were freely going out and even trying to recruit other models. So they were able to get away, but obviously, there's a lot of resources. These scumbags are rich. They have resources. They have law enforcement in their pocket. And if they care enough, they get these people back. Yeah, there's actually a longer video as well. Let's see. Supposedly, there was a lawyer who talked to her, has an account online too. I have a copy of this account just in text, so I can't verify that this happened. But this individual, on the full podcast, I'll go through the full account and I'll post the text. But apparently he said that there were some well-dressed people came and they removed him, who was the lawyer, and they took her. And they told him it was not his business. But they did ask him what she told him. He told them, because he was fearing for her safety, he said that she's insane, and he didn't understand anything she said. Then the creepiest part, I'll read this part. So he went to the officers of the ministry, told them about the issue, and he said that the girl's family requested more information. He said they laughed at him and told him she does not exist, she never existed, and you do not work here. So this is a lawyer, again, if this is true, this is a lawyer who worked here. He basically is instantly fired for bringing it up. He claimed he got a shiver and left the whole city. He had a feeling that what happened and what the girl said was true. She also mentioned that someone shot her friend. See if that name was public. Clark asks, Bruce, what do you think is the wealth threshold to get into this kind of thing? I mean, there's poor people. What do you mean getting into it? Like getting into it at the very top? Or just participating on the lower level, like getting invited to Diddy parties or something? I mean, low-level people in the entertainment industry actually get invited occasionally, not to the top, not to anything top ranking, but I don't know. This is a really creepy account. I mean, there's actually a lot more information. There's a lot more information because I don't know if I want to say this other person's name. I don't know how deep I want to go on this podcast. I am asked quite a bit of information on Gabriela Rico Jimenez because there's a lot here, and there's another individual tied to her that could kind of substantiate a lot of this stuff. So she was sent to a psychiatric center in Buenos Aires, supposedly. There was a news story about it. But again, people trying to get records say none of the records exist, which is interesting. There were a couple of people who actually looked into this. But yeah, I mean, this is just such a, it's really sad, and it's pretty like a lot of coincidence theorists. I mean, they're just basically traitors to humanity. Like, imagine the despair on this woman's face and hallucinating that she's just making it up or crazy, and that evil people would never be involved in evil things, and they would only act alone. Oh, to get on the island, Dragon Tracer was saying, yeah, you probably have to be pretty prominent to get on the island unless you're one of the girls. Or boys, I don't know. There's actually an interesting podcast, The Forgotten Women of Juarez. Hundreds of women have gone missing. Some bodies are found with strange symbols carved on their body, etc. So, I mean, there's crazy stuff there. And a lot of officials who actually have tried investigating ended up dead as well. Crazy, crazy stuff. But yeah, it is curious. Certain conspiracies like this, the Miami Mall incident, like where all the information is scrubbed for some reason. Like, look at all the other conspiracies and crazy people making crazy claims about having Bigfoot's baby. None of that is scrubbed from the internet. But there's just a few key cases like this woman here. Everything is scrubbed from the internet regarding her. People trying to say she never existed, she was never a model, etc. Now, I did find information that she had a friend who corroborated the identity, they're modeling together, etc. I'll get into that on the deep dive. I guess I should probably do that episode soon, since we touched upon it here. But think about what kind of a traitor to humanity you have to be to just deny the suffering of innocent people. So, supposedly, like, she was actually a Mexican model who was getting popular. So this isn't some random amateur who had, like, one shoot. Apparently, she had been traveling internationally, and there's corroboration of this from one of her friends with certain receipts. Not a lot of receipts, not a lot that I could find, but some receipts. And so she wasn't like, you know, obviously this big international model that everybody knew about, but she was like a model on the rise. And then she just disappeared. And the story is supposedly that she was taken to Buenos Aires, some kind of psychiatric facility. Not in Argentina, but in Mexico City, there's a Buenos Aires facility. And you know what's kind of crazy? So the coincidence theorists scum. So basically, she acted crazy outside of a hotel, and then she's going to spend the rest of her life in the psychiatric facility because of this? That's kind of weird. You can find people having meltdowns outside of nightclubs far worse than this. And they're not institutionalized for the rest of their life, allegedly. That's if that's what happened to her, if there's no record. But the fact that everything about her was completely scrubbed from the internet and gets constantly removed every time she's brought up. The full transcript of what she said is really heartbreaking. And of course, there are cartels that do engage in cannibalism. So all the goof coincidence theorists saying that this is completely impossible. And again, obviously, these Epstein documents are pretty interesting as well. There were a couple of videos made about her that have not been removed on YouTube. But what's interesting is if she's just a random person having a breakdown, why would these random men in suits come to take her away and fire the lawyer? Just really crazy stuff. Yeah, unfortunately, Steven Seagal was not there at the time to dole out well-deserved justice. But that's it for this edition. Plenty more to come. We got some logical analyses to finish up and deal with as well. So I'll catch all you guys next time. Thanks again for joining us. This is Bruce McGuire signing off.